We are recording.
All
All
right.
right. Hello, tile friends. Thanks for joining us for another podcast interview. Today in the studio with me is James Yoder. James, how you doing?
Hi.
Thanks for joining us.
I'm doing great. Yes. How are you doing?
Doing well. Thank you. Thank you. Why don't we start?
Yes,
Introduce
sir.
yourself, your company name, and then your location.
Yes. Hi, everybody. My name is James Yoder, and my company name is Custom Tile Solutions, and we're based in Central Ohio. We primarily work in the northeast end of Columbus. So,
Okay. What do you specialize in?
tile, very specifically, we do an occasional remodel where we do a bit more than tile, but for the most part, we specialize in tile. So
Hmm.
anything tile, if it's tile, we do it. So
Sure.
marble, stone, you name it. So
Nice. Well, take us back. How when and how did you start in this industry? What was that? What was that like? And how old were you?
I got started in 2018. I forget how old I would have been then. However,
8 years
um,
ago.
yeah, it's been 8 years. So in 2018, in 2017, I reached out. I kind of got the idea of starting a tile company just off a comment of somebody that he said, "Hey, we're always looking for tile guys." So I thought, well, that's interesting. I always enjoyed art
Mhm.
as a kid, drawing and painting and stuff. So that's kind of what drew me toward tile was the artistic part of it. So I reached out to an acquaintance that I knew that had a tile company, and I told him, "Hey, I'm looking to get into it. Would you consider hiring me, training me how to do it, and then I'll go off on my own?" And that's ultimately what I did. So I started working for him part time for about a year, and then once I, got good with the install and everything, he hired me full time
Mhm.
as a subcontractor. And I worked straight for him. And then about a year later, in 2019, I started reaching out to people in Columbus and got into that market.
And jumped right into doing your own thing.
Yep.
That's awesome. That's really quick. What were you doing before tile?
Before tile, I was working at a furniture factory for 6 years. And before that, I was in construction for 6 years. So I did
Hmm.
have about 6 years of framing houses and building pole barns and I was very familiar with a lot of the grunt work and construction, framing and building stuff. And then I had a small engine repair business that I was always just part time. And that's why I went to the furniture factory and worked there so I could have steady hours and get
Hmm.
home and do the small engine thing part time. And then that kind of went nowhere. I gave that up and eventually got into tile.
Got it. So a lot of hand-eye
Yeah.
coordination type jobs, type work, with the furniture, a
Hmm.
small engine,
Yeah.
so it sounds like it wasn't too far outside your wheelhouse, getting into tile. What was it in those first couple years that made you think, all right, this is it. This is what I'm going to do?
The tile stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just loved it. Yeah, I mean, I as soon as
Mm,
I got into it, I just really enjoyed the challenge of figuring out a shower, and it was. I mean, I did quite a few different things in construction, and then in the furniture factory that was technical, um,
mm,
and the learning how to do tile really well and fast at the same time was the hardest skill I ever learned. So
yeah.
I really enjoyed that challenge and figuring out, doing a herringbone shower for the first time. You end up sitting on the middle of the shower floor crying,
I still do. I still
not,
do.
so it's I don't know, it just the thrill of the challenge, I guess, is what drew me to it. Yeah. So
Nice. And then the artistic side sounds like you like.
yeah, I really
Nice.
do enjoy that. Yeah. Yeah. The more, yeah, if somebody calls and says, "Hey, they have something super intricate, and challenging," I always get excited about that. Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
So besides herringbone layouts, what else has been challenging about, running the business, starting the business, maybe some of the earlier challenges that you had?
mhm. Probably I never had any issues getting work. Probably one of the biggest struggles was just managing the business as far as, paperwork is not my strong point. And then just cash flow was probably the biggest, hurdle to get through. Within the first year, my vehicle I got a Chevy van, and that thing broke and I had to get rid of it and, borrow money to get a truck. So just, yeah, a lot of challenges financially in the first couple of years, to work through and finally get, some cash flow build up and a little bit of money in the bank to be able to operate.
Yeah. Yeah, I hear that. We'll dig into the cash flow issue a little bit, but before we do that, I don't want to skip over. You said the finding the work's never been hard for you.
Hmm.
Now, a lot of
Hmm.
guys out there probably like, what the heck? Finding the work is very difficult for me. Even here in my business, it's not always easy. There's a lot of competition. What's different? What do you do that's unique that the work just comes to you? So,
Yeah, I guess I don't know exactly what I do different. But the the way I did it was, so the guy that got me started, he was working in a different town. So when I got started, I went to Columbus. So I'm not in the same city that he is at. So we're not competing with each other. That
sure.
was one of the agreements we had early on.
Mm,
So I simply went to the tile shop, and asked them,
mm,
hey, do you guys have a referral program? And then they were able to channel a lot of work to me. So maybe that's, I just got lucky
got it. Yeah,
with them. I did go, knock on their door and say, hey, here I am. But then
sure.
on, my biggest client has been a custom home builder. And
Mm,
the way I got in contact with them was through Instagram. So I
mm,
would take pictures of my work and put a lot of hashtags in it and say, hey, Wedi tile shower in Columbus, just a bunch of different hashtags. And they found me on Instagram actually. So, and they've been,
cool.
by far my biggest client so far. Yeah.
Got it. Got it. So just getting a relationship with the tile shop that got you
Hmm.
going. And then
Yeah.
Instagram. Because I was checking your business out. I didn't see a website.
Hmm.
I don't know about Facebook, but I did see you on Instagram. So that's good to know
Okay.
that that's
Yeah.
working.
Yeah. I
Yeah,
I do have a website, but it's not doing what it needs to do yet.
sure.
I haven't put any effort into it, honestly. So,
Right. Right.
we built it, and then we never really did a lot with it.
Yeah. Yeah. I
So
gotcha.
yeah.
Yeah. It's difficult when
But
when you get busy. Go ahead.
yeah, I was just thinking, one of the ways that I probably got a lot more work than most people easily is, um, with working for a guy that's already established, doing very high end tile work, and
Hmm.
then that really got me into the rhythm of things. And I had existing work that I can take pictures of and show people and say, hey, this is what
Sure.
I do. I've been doing it full time. So really wasn't starting from scratch. So I guess having a mentor would be a big step in the right direction. Yeah.
Definitely. Yeah. Yeah. That's great advice.
So.
And I'll say on Instagram too, since we're talking about Instagram a little bit, hashtags are great. Glad it worked out for you. Another way, and I'm only saying this because it jogged my memory. In one of the tile
Hmm.
groups, somebody was asking about how they can utilize social media to get work. And I said, hey, get on social media, do the hashtags, all that. But really, in my opinion, in this day and age, what's really important is liking and following other local tradespeople. Now, this could be builders, this could
Oh,
be,
that's interesting.
carpenters. This could even be restaurants. Mom
Hmm.
and pop restaurants that
Hmm.
maybe you go to lunch at, and if
Hmm.
they have like I used to do this all the time. If I would always go to a locally owned restaurant, most of the time, not like McDonald's. And if they had, an Instagram sticker on their thing, I would find them on Instagram, take a picture of
Hmm.
myself in my work shirt, tag them, put it in my stories,
Oh,
hey, we
that's
appreciate your
interesting.
sandwiches, whatever. And this way
Hmm.
you're developing relationships with other local business owners and promoting their business. I mean, think about it. If somebody did that for you and started promoting your tile installation business,
Hmm.
like maybe a designer who had, yeah, it doesn't really matter about it. Maybe they have 500 or maybe 5,000 followers. Doesn't matter
Mm-hmm.
if they're like liking and loving and commenting on your pictures, you're gonna be like, man, this designer's really cool. Really thankful for
Mm-hmm.
her or his support, and I'm gonna maybe collaborate with them in the future. And it's the same symbiotic relationship. So for my business, I follow very few people that are outside of my work area. On my personal
Mm-hmm.
account, I'll follow, the tile bro, whoever. But on my business, I try to just keep it local. That way my feed is mostly local, and that way
Mm-hmm.
I can get more intertwined. So that would be my advice to anybody listening that says, hey, how can I utilize Instagram more? And that's proactive, right? The hashtags
Mm-hmm.
is like, that's going to probably work. Hopefully it worked out for you, James. That's
Mm-hmm.
awesome. But if you want to be proactive with it, and even just hitting somebody up in their direct messages, hey, I see you build custom homes. I do tile. Check out some of my work. If you ever want to meet up, I'd love to meet you. Whatever. Simple.
Mm-hmm.
Keep it simple, but
Yeah.
try to get some comments, some interaction going.
Yeah, for sure.
Let's dive into the cash flow a little bit, James. Yeah, you're right. Those
Mm-hmm.
early years, I mean, I'm 2.5 years in my business now, and I'm experiencing cash flow restrictions. One of the ways
Mm-hmm.
I help to alleviate this is to take typically 50% down payment up front. And
Mm-hmm.
now some people hearing this will have a knee jerk reaction and they'll say, that's the worst idea possible. Don't spend that money. But a business needs cash to operate. And it's
Mm-hmm.
without, it's one of the easiest ways I've found to get that cash flow is get those early deposits. Even if there's a little bit of robbing Paul to pay Peter, you can get yourself in
Mm-hmm.
trouble.
Mm-hmm.
But if you're doing your accounting and you really know, hey, this is really for this job, you might need to borrow from
Mm-hmm.
it once in a while. But
Mm-hmm.
what
Yeah.
what ways did you get out of the hole, get out of the cash flow struggle?
Probably the biggest way is simply, grinding through it, working long
Mm-hmm.
hours.
Yeah,
Um, just to be blunt, that's what I did. In the early years, I
mm-hmm.
did work a lot of long hours, but probably the main thing that made a big difference was when my brother started working in 2022. That being two people, you can just have so much more production
Yeah.
than one person, and there's the operating costs really didn't go up
Mm-hmm.
with having a second person. So like my overhead basically stayed the same at least for the first couple of years. We now have another
Sure.
vehicle, so that's additional, but that actually made a very big difference. That was, and I was doing just fine before that, but that made the biggest step was having that second person
Yeah.
in production. And to
Nice.
be fair to my brother, he gets it done. So
Nice.
he
Nice.
shows up. He's a hard worker. So
So did you,
so
and you mentioned before we started that you're now working with both, well, with two of your brothers. I don't know how many brothers you have,
yeah,
but with two of your brothers.
yeah, hmm
Did you
yeah.
get them in the trade, or is that something they found independently, or you taught them?
So I taught them both, but as far as tile, but yeah, they both started working for me. From Adam, he was doing commercial roofing, and he
Mm,
said enough of that. He's sick of the hot roofs, and so he came to
yeah.
do tile. Um, and then Mark, he was in masonry most of his life, and
Mm,
he was just
okay.
ready to slow down. It's a lot lighter doing tile than it
Yeah.
is doing mason.
Sure.
So he was ready to for something different, and then yeah, I was busy with the custom home builder. Really, I mean, it's literally one 10,000 square foot house after another with this custom
Wow.
builder. So he gives me a ton of work, and there's times when I needed the extra help. So I was like, hey, do you guys want to work? And yeah, it's just been we've been cruising ever since. So.
Cool. So I want to talk about, the family, working with family. That's got to be
Hmm.
fun, but probably challenging at times. Also, we can definitely dive into the big custom builder work. But
Hmm.
before we get too far, I want to double back on the long hours comment. Now, long hours
Hmm.
is no stranger to any and all tile guys. I think
Hmm.
if you're mix, I mean, if you're mixing thin set, especially if you're the owner, I mean, employees probably different story, but as the solo owner operator, you might be mixing thin set at 3 or 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock, and you're going to try to use every drip of that
Yeah.
thin set. And also
Yeah.
sometimes we set goals like we need to get this wall done, we need to get this waterproof, we need to get this done so that can get done tomorrow, right? And in the early days, like you said, hey, we need more square foot you put down, the more money you get, the quicker you get. You need that cash flow.
Yeah.
So how do you break out of that cycle though, or have you, are you working 8 hours, 10-hour days? What are you working now?
I probably average about 10 hour days gone from the house, maybe more, maybe closer to 11 hours out of the house. About 8 hours we average on the job sites. We don't really have a set hours that we work. We
Sure.
basically, I try
Yeah.
to schedule things to where we can work normal 8 hour days. I have a very strict policy, no working Saturdays or Sundays. We only work 5 days a week.
Nice.
And we try to not work late at this point.
Mm-hmm.
Um, the uh, the biggest thing with getting, not working late hours is just becoming good at it and being able to predict, these walls are going to take me this long, and just, managing your workflow in a way that you can end up going home at 4 o'clock instead of 7. And
Right.
that's, with learning tile, you run into an endless amount of different tiles, and each tile, some are easy to set, some are an absolute nightmare, and you really never know until you start setting them.
Mm-hmm.
And
Right.
sometimes, all of a sudden something's a little bit out of level, and it just takes, how it is. If it's nice and square, it takes 30 minutes. If it's out of level, it takes 2 hours. And all of a sudden
Mm-hmm.
you're there at 7. So it's just learning how to predict those things and avoiding the problems, is probably what saves the most amount of time. Being
Gotcha.
able to see, this shower is going to take this long,
Mm-hmm.
and the ceiling's out of whack, and you fix it the day before instead of while you're trying to install tile or something. So
Right. Right. Yeah. So just thinking ahead, getting better at estimating the time. I heard something
yeah.
the other day. No thin set after 2 o'clock. Do you have any rules like that?
We don't. No.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was listening to that phone call myself, and I heard that, and yeah, it's definitely the amount of thin set that we toss is a little absurd sometimes, but it's I've assumed that it's just part of the process at this point. So
Part of the
so
waste factor. Yeah. Yeah. Well, let's
yeah,
talk.
yeah. I mean, you try
Yeah.
to avoid it, but it happens to everybody. Yeah. So
Oh yeah. Yeah, for sure.
so.
Um, let's talk about working for that big builder. What you got in with this builder. He's giving you a lot of work. You said like 10,000 square foot homes, a lot of
hmm
custom tile work. Do you
hmm
charge square foot price, day rate? Do you do the work and then hand him the bill? How does that relationship work with you and him?
hmm Yeah, so as far as the bill with all my clients, I do not bill until the job is complete. At least I try to.
Hmm.
That's one of my policies. Is I typically, when I'm selling to a homeowner, I tell them you don't pay me till the job is done and you're happy, and
Hmm.
that gives the homeowners a lot of confidence. So that actually could relate to one thing about it being easy to get tile work, because that's been my policy from day one.
Yeah.
Is once I'm done and you're happy, you pay me. And it puts a lot of pressure on myself to perform and get the job done so I
Hmm.
can get paid.
Right.
But with the builder, he gives me a lot of work, like I said, and we would do, maybe we do the top floor and then I bill him.
Hmm. Okay.
And
Yeah.
yeah, sorry, I lost my train of thought. Repeat there was
No, you're
multiple
fine.
questions there.
Well,
So,
do you give him does he know your like how do you price the builder work? Square foot
oh,
or
yeah. Yeah, I price everything by the square foot. I have a very simple price sheet that I put together, with all the
okay.
square footages, and it's a very broad. I win some, I lose some a little bit. So, the most common tile is 12 by 24 right now, and I've got a
Hmm.
price to where I make good money on 12 by 24s. If we're doing subway tile, yeah, I make a little bit less, but it's not, it's not bad. The nice thing with the builder is the jobs are already sold. He knows my prices. I really don't have to do estimates with him at this point. He knows my pricing well enough. Sometimes he'll reach out and, hey, can you price this house, because we're on a budget or something. But for the most part, he kind of knows my pricing and we just go with it. Yeah. So.
Got it. Yeah. Your square foot pricing. So,
Yeah.
got it. Yeah, that makes sense. So you and I have different, like opposite views of collecting the money. Like I like to
Yeah, a
collect
little
50%
bit.
up
Yeah.
front. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, and hey, I always say whatever works for you in your local area and your business. For me, I like collecting money up front. I'm flexible.
Mm-hmm.
Don't always need
Mm-hmm.
50, don't always demand 50%, sometimes I'll
Mm-hmm.
take less,
Mm-hmm.
if it's far
Yeah.
out or something.
Yeah, and
So
I most certainly don't think it's wrong to collect up front. It's
sure,
just not. It just hasn't been. That's actually been one of the big sales pitches for me with people. It's
sure.
like, hey,
Yeah.
people freak out. They're like, you don't need any money, and I'm like, no, but I'll do the work, and you pay me once I'm done. So that's
You know what? And you're not the only guy out there, James, who has told me that and said that, I think, on this podcast even. So it is a
Mm-hmm.
method that works,
Mm-hmm.
and makes sense, frankly. Here in Florida, man, there's a lot of scam artists. It's like I was just talking to
Mm.
somebody the other day that, told me about 3 or 4 different times in the last 3 or 4 years that he didn't get paid.
Oh,
There's a
yeah.
lot of these type of shisty people down here,
Mm-hmm.
builders and, flippers and
Mm-hmm.
what have you. But, I can see up Midwest, things are more,
Mm-hmm.
handshake, more
Mm-hmm.
of a trust thing. And I'm not saying it, we couldn't do that here, but I personally like a contract and cash down, or deposit
Mm-hmm.
down and everything like that.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Let's talk about working with your brothers. Has there been any funny stories of you guys wrestling on the front yard or anything like that?
Oh, oh, not too much. No, it's funny. We get that a lot. They're like, "You work with your brothers? You
Yeah,
don't fight?" And then we're like, "No, we don't." I mean, we're all in our 30s. We've
sure,
talked about it. If we were in our lower 20s, maybe it wouldn't work so well.
sure.
But we've all, we're all in it to make money, and fighting is never going to make us any money. So that's kind of, yeah,
Yeah,
it's been fun. Sure, there are a few challenges here and there, but it's nothing. Yeah, nothing
cool.
major. So
So,
no, yeah, no wrestling so far. So
so you would recommend it? Working with
yeah, I
families
mean,
has
yeah,
been good for you.
I mean, yeah, it's kind of strange, honestly, because I mean, we get along just fine. But yeah, I mean, we had one guy from Kentucky that he reached out to me. He was looking for work, and he helped us for 3 or 4 days on a big project. He was just looking for some fill-in work, and he actually worked for his brother, and he couldn't believe that we weren't fighting. He was like, "Yeah, it's like." He said, "Me and my brother, we're pissed at the end of the day." And I was like, "I don't know." So we're not. So, and I
Cool.
think he honestly really appreciated that. I could tell he was like, "Oh, this is great."
Yeah,
These guys, so yeah, we just show up and get to work. So,
got it. Got it. Cool.
um,
Well, that's good. Glad to hear it.
yeah.
Do you let's see, what was I going to ask? Shoot. Oh, the systems. You've got a Wedi hat on. Before we started, you
Mm-hmm.
said, "Hey, I always use Wedi." Uh,
Mm-hmm.
Now, how has that helped you in your business growth? Just choosing a system and going with it. Do you ever use other products for
Mm-hmm.
showers?
Yeah, yeah. For showers, that is the guy that taught me. That's what he used. And we have a really nice local business that has sells it at the best price. And they have free delivery, so it's
Mm-hmm.
very convenient, a very convenient product for me. However, I've tried all the other systems. I've taken the Schluter training. At one point, we did um, installs for a builder that started buying all his tile from a certain store, and they only sold Schluter. And
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
it was a complicated situation, but they said we have to use Schluter. So we took the training. We did not like it. Just to be blunt, we literally hate Schluter shower systems. So
Mm.
I'm Team Wedi over here. And Latacrete I'm fine with,
Mm.
but it's just not a product that's readily available for me. And Wedi is, and there's a bunch of others, but occasionally I'll do a flow effects drain with a dry pack
Mm.
mortar bed and a sheet membrane for the waterproofing, depending on the shower. Occasionally we'll do that. But yeah, we just stick to Wedi. We like it. We've tried most other products, and Wedi is the one we always go back to.
So that square foot price that your builder has, that includes the Wedi system for showers, or?
It does. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I include all my materials are embedded in the square foot price.
Got it.
So yeah, he doesn't know, the builder doesn't know what I'm making on labor. He just knows this is what
Sure.
it costs, and it includes material. So
Got it. How often are
yeah.
you raising your prices with the builder?
Um, it's probably been about 2 years since I raised my prices.
Time to
Close to
raise
two
them.
years. I would have to look. Yeah, it's one of those things where, I mean, inflation is starting. I'm starting to see it a little bit, but honestly, my prices haven't really increased on my products much.
Mm.
The Wedi has gone up a little bit. It's not a huge percentage. I honestly don't know exactly, but when I crunch the numbers, and I crunch them very, you know, not thoroughly, if that makes sense. I just, I look at, hey, we had this many hours on this shower. I know approximately what the Wedi cost me in the mortar, and then go, oh yeah, we
Sure.
made money. We're still fine. But yeah, I have thought about raising my prices a little bit, but at the same time, we're making money, we're paying our bills, and we're doing just fine. So
Mm-hmm.
I lean more on the side of not raising my prices, because it just feels like the entire economy, everybody's trying to raise their prices. So,
Mm-hmm.
so to a certain point, I sometimes disagree with everybody that's saying, "Hey, raise your prices, raise your prices." I don't know. I feel a little different about that. I do
Mm-hmm.
need to make money and pay the bills, um, but at the same time, also like to be um, as affordable and add as much value to my local economy as I can. So,
Mm-hmm. 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 Yeah, no, I mean, that makes sense. You're a nice guy, James, and you want to provide a lot of value and a good service
hmm
at a correct price. I would
hmm
push back a little bit and say, even if I bet, I bet material prices came up 2.5, maybe 5% in 2 years. I would
Oh
say,
yeah, yeah,
yeah,
probably.
and I would say it's not fair to you and your business to eat that 5%. Because
hmm
yeah, you buy one shower system, not a big deal.
hmm hmm
You buy 25 or maybe closer to 40, a
hmm
year.
hmm
Now it's starting to add up.
Yeah, yeah, that
Now that
is
number
true.
is a real
Yeah,
number. So I
yeah.
would
All
just
of a
push
sudden, we're
back a
in
little
the
bit.
yeah.
I would challenge you a little
hmm
bit to, to
hmm
hone that in. And frankly, with builders, and the thing about it is the builder will understand, but he also has to know well in advance so that as he's
hmm
bidding, next year's work, he
hmm
knows your prices have gone up.
hmm
And because what you want to avoid, and this is what I'm really trying to say is what you want to avoid is 5 years going by and all of a sudden saying, hey, price has gone up 15%.
hmm
I'm sure every builder in the country would rather have a 5% increase annually than be caught off guard.
Yeah,
You know what I
yeah.
mean?
That does make sense. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
That's fair. Yeah. hmm
So are you getting, no, how much, you said most of your work comes from this builder. How much other work is still coming from the tile shop? Like 25%, would you average 30% of your workload comes from, other sources or?
Yeah, yeah, I would say probably, just guessing right now, is probably around 70% is for the main builder.
Hmm.
Maybe even down to 65 or even 60%. And then I have four other contractors, either remodel contractors or new construction builders, that give me some work. And then the tile shop. And then there's just word of mouth too now. So
Got it. Well, sounds like you have work indefinitely. I mean, it sounds like you're pretty well set up.
Yeah. I mean, there's a lot coming down the pipes. I have a lot of, a lot of jobs lined up right now, and there's not really an end in sight right now. And
Yeah.
I haven't really done any advertising to speak of, just, just word of mouth, the tile shop, and then just build relationships with people that, word gets around, locally, that, hey, that, you guys do tile, and then
Yeah.
so
Yeah. That's awesome, man. So
yeah.
what about more employees? You thinking about expanding the business?
Um, I have no clue. Is that fair?
Fair enough.
I don't.
Yeah.
I wouldn't shouldn't say I have no clue. I mean, yes, potentially,
Hmm.
but I'm not exactly sure um, that that's the direction I want to go. Maybe, um, and probably something that ties into that is back to the beginning. One of the goals I had when I started this business was to become a mosaic artist and
Mm.
work. I actually was thinking, I'm going to work solo. I'm going to create these huge mosaic, art pieces and make millions, basically, was my
Mm.
plan.
Yeah.
Obviously, that's not exactly what I'm doing. But that plan did get the ball rolling and got me in, got the tile business started. And, here
Sure.
we are doing, and we do a lot of high end, fairly artistic stuff.
Oh yeah.
But not the art side of it. So I could see myself leaning more towards, trying to slow down and do more um, art type installs. But
Hmm.
also, I'm open to having more employees too. It's not honestly, I'm not certain what I want to do. If that's just being honest. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it's sometimes you can have your cake and eat it too, right? It's just all about
Hmm.
appropriate planning and patience and kind of putting the plan in motion, which, you know, if your two brothers, I imagine they're skilled installers already by their own right, right?
Hmm.
And
Yeah.
the three of you could probably be on three different jobs at once.
Yeah.
Is that,
Yeah.
that
And
makes
in fact, we are most of the time. Yeah. We have three full sets of tools at this point.
great. Yeah.
And yeah, we're basically solo installers.
Mm,
A lot of times we'll be on the same jobs, but in different rooms.
sure. Sure.
There's a lot of the
Yeah, the
larger
bigger one.
houses have,
Yeah.
so has multiple rooms. So, but yeah, a lot
Yeah.
of times we're split up.
Yeah.
So yeah, I guess I could do both, get the business going to where it's kind of running and then do some art, I guess. But
Yeah, I mean, one or two
I'm
more
good.
installers would probably free up your time quite a bit and it would really demand you maybe be step more into a management role, than
Hmm.
leave some of lets the installers do the installation, and then you can
Hmm.
pick and choose your projects appropriately. Have you
Hmm.
so what have you already done? Because I know a lot of guys who are similar to like you. They're attracted to the art mosaic, type of
Hmm.
thing. Have you done anything in your past or working on any projects, mosaic projects for yourself or just for fun?
I haven't actually built or done any mosaic art for myself or anything. I've mentioned it to um, the big builder because he has people that a lot of his clients could afford it, and I told him, hey, if there's ever somebody that mentions it, I'm game to do it.
Mm-hmm.
I have back when I was working with my mentor, he got me, or not, he didn't get me. We helped a mosaic artist install two of her pieces. So
Nice.
she
Yeah.
reached out. She needed some help with. They were big. One was a black splash that was all glass. She specialized in glass, so she had
Mm-hmm.
all cut broken like glass. So we did two of them. One was a big tall fireplace, 20 feet tall, and
Mm-hmm.
a backsplash that she had. What she did is she templated the entire backsplash and installed it on 1/8 inch Wedi board. And then
Mm-hmm.
we just installed the Wedi boards for her and then spent several days helping her fill in the joints in between
Yeah.
the Wedi boards and around the
Sure.
perimeter with the little glass pieces. So yeah, I have a little bit, a couple days,
Yeah.
but that's about it. So,
Got it. Got it. Okay.
yeah.
Have you looked into? There's some mosaic art classes. I think Latacrete sponsors one every year with Lee Callywort. Have you heard of that
I
one?
haven't actually I haven't actually gotten serious about going to one of those,
Yeah,
but yeah, I've kind of followed along just a little bit and seen, the different events that happen, but not yeah, I haven't gotten
yeah,
serious about going. Yeah. So I want to go
yeah.
to coverings sometime. Do you go to that one?
Yeah, not every year. I went last
Mm-hmm.
year. I didn't go. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
I went 2 years ago, I guess. I didn't go this year. Um,
Mm-hmm.
they're in Orlando a lot,
Okay.
so it's about
Mm-hmm.
3 hours from me. So when it's in Orlando, I'll definitely go.
Mm-hmm.
That's coverings is good. It's a good experience for sure. Meet a lot of cool people. Probably see some new
Mm-hmm.
tools. Get some new
Mm-hmm.
product information. Um, yeah, it's a good event for sure. For sure.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I mean, I would suggest, looking into some of these mosaic classes and kind of,
Okay.
maybe thinking about putting that on your calendar one of these upcoming years. Because
Mm-hmm.
I think
Mm-hmm.
it's like, I haven't been to this myself. I just observed, I know it's out there. I can send you some information if you want, but I think it's like two,
Mm-hmm.
3, 4 days of hands-on training, and you create a little mosaic art
Mm-hmm.
piece, and get some
Mm-hmm.
instructions on that and stuff. So I think that would boost that part of your career as well.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I could see myself doing that sometime. So
Yeah. Well, I hope you do. I hope you put it on your radar for an upcoming adventure for you. Um, and it sounds like you've got a great business there in Ohio, James. I appreciate you taking some time. Was there anything that we missed that you want to dive into?
I don't think so. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, yeah, not yeah, I can't really think of anything offhand.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Well, you've got a great foundation there, a solid business, it sounds like. I can't wait to see where you take it. I know, you're kind of have a couple different things that you may or may want to strive for. It'll be
Hmm.
exciting to watch what you do in the coming couple of years here, James. Thanks for
Perfect. Thank
sharing.
you.
Thanks for sharing and taking some time for us.
Yep, and thank you. Yeah, thanks for reaching out and getting connected.
My pleasure. All right, tile friends, stay profitable out there.
Thanks.